Hello, 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 and welcome to the Coaches Lounge with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley. This is where I have the pleasure to spotlight wonderful coaches, educators, and mentors that basically turn your world around to a positive and move your needle in your lives to grow. Yes, that's what they do. If you was ever trying to think, if you have a coach, if you're looking for a coach, if you're in the middle of changing coach, whatever you're doing, you know, as coaches, as a coach being in your life, is there to cheer you on, give you those nuggets, give you the information for you to flow and just continuously to do that. And that's what coaches love to do. But a lot of times the coaches don't get that love right back. And I was looking around, I was talking to my queen that's going to be coming up in a minute, that I'm going to be interviewing. And I told her, I said, I want you to get the love too. I want the coach to get the love too, because you're not only building your brand, they're building their business, but they're helping somebody build theirs. They're helping somebody build somebody's dream. They're helping somebody build somebody's mission in life that they didn't think they can do, and they can do it with that coach. Not saying they can't do it on their own, but it always helps to have somebody that's been there, that's done things, that can give you the aspects of how you're growing instead of you having to do it and learn from your own. I always tell people, if you can help me from going into a ditch, please give me that. You know, I always tell people, get the wisdom of others that have been there. And these coaches that I bring on have been there, and they have shown themselves up. So today I have a wonderful, I call all the ladies that come on, all the women that come on my show, queens. And she's a wonderful queen. She's a celebrity queen. And her name, Jennifer Mecham. Boy, this woman, basically, let me tell you what her passion is real quick. And she's going to get more into it when we bring her on. So I don't want to take the thunder from her at all. She leads clients through the same 6-month program invested to change the lives, the directions of their life, thinking in the results. See, I like when people think of, okay, what kind of results can we give for you in your business? Okay. Within the first 2 months, she secured the job she wanted and made income. And guess what? I always use this word, flip it. And she can flip it and do that and help you in that same momentum. Now, I always my guest, she's just not the owner of Elevated Thinking with the Coal Miner's Daughter Success Performance Coach, which you're gonna hear more into that too. When I heard coal miner, I said, oh yeah, we definitely got to hear that story. I love that. But what she named it, if she wanted to name this show, is from the coal miner to the from the coal miner to the gold mine. A coal miner steers his daughters towards her own powerful gold mine. And I love that, because it's just not, it's your mind to change that up. And I'm more into that. But as I always say, get ready to take notes. So I hope you have your pen and paper handy, because you're going to want to listen to this wonderful queen. So much she does. So she's author, speaker, all that. But see, I always look at the heart of person, and I seen just meeting her, she has a heart of gold, and she has a lot to share. So with that, we'll have one more video, and we'll be right back to meet this wonderful, wonderful, awesome queen. We'll be right back. And we are back. If you're just chiming in here, you are here at the Coaches Lounge with yours truly, Barbara J. Beckley. But this is not about Barbara J. Beckley. This is about this wonderful queen that's sitting right next to me, virtual, Miss Jennifer Mecham. And Jennifer, first of all, before we even start hearing about the awesomeness that you are and the light of the world that you do, thank you so much for coming on the show. I always have to do that because she could have been spending time anywhere else in her kingdom besides coming here and talking to Barbara. So, and us and his audience. So thank you, Jennifer, for coming today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. So, this is, like I said, this is to spotlight you. And I told her, because I'm always open book to people most of the time, I say, she can be selfish. She's going to be selfish. And I want her. And she has a right to do that because of what she did so many others. So, Jennifer, yes, be ready to be selfish right now. One thing I always like to hear when I meet people is their passion and their drive of what they do and their mission and how they got there. Because, it's always something in our lives, right, Jennifer, that kind of changes the trajectory of where we might have been going or what we thought we were supposed to be. And you know how that switches?
That's so true.
So let me just pull back the curtain a little bit on how you got to where you are right now, Queen.
All right. Yeah. So I am truly the daughter of a coal miner. I grew up in Utah. My dad worked a really hard job, his entire adult life in the coal mines of Utah. And the thing is, he hated it. It was hard work. It was struggle. It was, we were poor and we just struggled paycheck to paycheck. But he stayed in that job. And I'm always curious, like, why? He was counting down his life until retirement. He just spent his life counting down the days. He'd actually write on his calendar.
Wow.
But that's what he did because he was told that if he got a job in the welding industry and if he worked for the coal mines, he would have a job that paid him, that was a secure job that would pay him, for the rest of his life. And he would get retirement. He would get his benefits and it would pay a bit better than most because it was a hard job. So he bought into this idea. And the crazy thing is so my dad was a mountain man too. He not only worked in the coal mines, but in his off time, he always spent his time looking for gold in the mountains.
Wow.
That was what he hoped would lift us, our family, out of poverty. So that was my life with my mountain man dad. And it wasn't until the end of his life, toward the end of his life, that he was introduced to the film The Secret by my mom because she saw it and she's like, you really need to watch this. He wasn't one to watch much TV at all, but he sat and watched this. And when he saw that film, I don't know if you're familiar with The Secret.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Well, when he saw that and those stories in there, it was like a gut punch to him. Like that was it. That was the true gold, was your mind. And it's our thinking. It's our thinking that can lift us to a life of prosperity and abundance, or it's our thinking that will lead us to a life of struggle and hardship. And he was so passionate about us getting that message to live an easier life than he had, that he made us all, me and my brothers and sisters, all a copy of this to say, here, go learn from these great people who've done it. Live a life of less struggle.
Yes.
And so he gave us, this gold. And what did I do with it? When he gave it to me, I watched it. I thought, oh, that sounds nice, but it sounded like fluff. So I kind of, instead of following all these people that had proven success, rags to riches stories, I did what everyone else told me to do. I did not want to live like my parents did. And so I went to college. I got my degree and I got my bachelor's, I got my master's, and settled into a safe, comfortable job in the healthcare research industry. Paid the bills, but it wasn't satisfying. And, I look back and I thought, I've just settled into the same thing my dad did. Settled into a job that was not satisfying. That just got me by from paycheck to paycheck. And I wasn't living a very satisfying life. I ask, why am I not satisfied? I'm living better than my parents lived. I live in a cookie cutter house. I have a decent job. I have 2 beautiful daughters. So why am I not satisfied? And for years, I just kept telling myself I should be satisfied. I should be satisfied. I would listen to the news a lot and see and hear so many sad stories of people that were just struggling or living in war-torn countries. And I just kept saying, I should be satisfied. I'm not living as bad off as they are. I should just be satisfied. And it wasn't until COVID hit that my routine stopped. I stopped having to get up to take the kids to school and go to work and do the routine of just that life. And then I look over one day during COVID, and there was that DVD again, the film The Secret. I didn't have to go look for it. It was just there.
Wow.
So I popped it in this time, and this time I really paid attention. And I started doing research on all the teachers that were featured in that film. And that led me to Bob Proctor, who had been teaching these principles the longest.
Yes.
And so I enrolled in his course, Thinking into Results. So it's a 6-month program, but within the first 2 months, I got the job I wanted. My income doubled. And I was able to make some drastic personal changes in my life that I'd wanted to make for years. And I was so knocked over with the speed of how fast this worked that I was hooked. And so I decided to go back and get trained by Bob and his entire team to learn this so that I could teach others how to do what I'd done. I was really moved by Bob and his story. And so I don't know if you're familiar with Bob Proctor, but I'll give you a quick overview of his life. So he was born during the Depression. He grew up really poor. He was actually kicked out of high school at the age of 16. He didn't drop out. He was kicked out. And he spent the next 10 years bouncing around from job to job. He couldn't keep a job. He spent his nights drinking, and he was going nowhere fast. And it wasn't until one of the most influential men in his community in Toronto got a hold of him and pulled him aside one day and said, "I've been watching you. You've got to be one of the most miserable people I've ever met. You're always broke. You're always sick. Your way's not working. Why don't you try my way?" And he gave him a copy of the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he said, Napoleon spent his entire life writing this book. It would do you a lot of good to spend your entire life reading this book. And Bob was so tired of being sick and broke that he really took this to heart. And he could see by this man's results that he knew what he was talking about. So he followed his lead. He started studying the book. He didn't just read it once and put it down. He really studied it so that it became part of his identity. He's like, well, I have no education. I have no business experience. What do I do? He said, this man, his name was Ray Stanford. He said, "Bob, that doesn't matter. None of that matters. What does matter? Just start a business." So he'd heard that there was good money in cleaning. So he opened a cleaning business and started cleaning offices on the side. He went from making $4,000 that year in 1961 to $175,000 by the end of the year. And then he took it over $1 million just a couple years later. And in today's dollars, that would be over $10 million. It was long before the internet. How did this happen? And he was knocked over by his results. People are asking him, well, how did this happen for you? He said, well, here's the book. Read it.
He's like, just
here, do what I did. Read this book. But he noticed it didn't have the same effects on others that it did him. He also noticed that other cleaning businesses were not doing as well as him. And by this time, he'd opened branches all over Canada, the US, the UK. He was really branching out and making a lot of money. But he's like, why me? Why did this work for me? But not everyone. So he decided to offload his company and went and worked with Earl Nightingale, who was directly mentored by Napoleon Hill. And he spent the next 10 years studying with mentors who had proven their success and people who knew the psychology of the human mind, who knew how important thinking was and the messages we tell ourselves and what we believe, what kind of messages we decide to accept or reject. Which brings me back to my dad. He was told a story that if he bought into the idea of being a welder for the coal mines, he would be taken care of forever. But that doesn't, support the human spirit. We're created to expand and create and make ourselves live a bigger purpose, not just work hard, not just use our bodies for digging in the ground, but to use our minds. And so once I learned this information, I couldn't turn back. And I feel you're telling me here that I need to be selfish about this, but I find great satisfaction in giving people a nudge. Start believing in yourself. You've got so much potential in there. You don't even know what kind of potential you have. When I work with businesses, it's all about results. So your business is not where you're not getting the results you want. It's all about you. It's not about your marketing. It's not about your strategy. It's you. It's what's going on in your mind. And so
I love that. I just want to just pin it there for a minute, Jennifer. First of all, thank you so much for telling us your story and the story of your dad, which, just my heart goes to that point, what he dealt with and how he changed and figured out things, because like you just said, it really depends on what your heart, what gifts you have that are going out and what you feel comfortable with and what you're excited about. Like you said, you knew something was missing.
Right.
I think we all go through, because I was just thinking about when you said, you went to college, you did what you had to do, you had a good job, you're not, and I did kind of the similar, because my mother at the time, she was saying, get a job, get education, and get a retirement plan. And I mean, that was just like in their thoughts, right? That's back right then. But see, we're kind of, moving in the other generation where, okay, I get that. And I know I need to have a job. I know I need to have something, some money, but I'm not feeling fulfilled. And I'm not really doing what I know. There's something in me that's not really, like you just said, it was just something. And I had the same thing. I had the same type of, okay, I've been sitting on this job for 20 years and I'm not really satisfied. And I felt kind of guilty too, like you said, in a sense, because you're seeing other people in other countries and stuff that are doing, much, worse off. And I'm like, okay, I'm not in that point. So why am I not feeling, comfortable? I'm not feeling whatever. And it takes, like you said, but thank you for telling about Bob Proctor's story. I do know about his story. I wanted you to elaborate on, because I know some people in the audience might not have known. So thank you for taking that time to do that. That when we see those success crumbs, I always call them those success crumbs that we can look at from other people, let us guide us there some kind of way. That's when the beauty of the people's stories really are powerful. Because just like I said, I know I told you to be, to, just talk about you, but you are, because you're showing us where your heart and where you were getting everything from to build where you are now. And that's what we need. We need each other. See, that's the whole thing. Yeah. And thank you for showing that, because you took us through your dad, you took us through Bob, you took us through, who he had as a mentor and the books and all that. See how all that brought together so many people's lives to change. And it changed in your own life. Yeah.
Right. And that's where the magic is that for years I couldn't sleep because my mind would wake me up with this feeling of unsatisfaction. And I didn't know why until I met Bob. And he taught me that dissatisfaction is actually a creative state. It's what we need to propel us further. If we don't have that dissatisfaction, we stay where we are. There's no growth until you can embrace the idea that dissatisfaction is a creative state.
Yes.
And we talk about the importance of being grateful, because that's what stirs your energy. But you can be both grateful and dissatisfied at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar with Think and Grow Rich.
Yes, I am. But like I said, I want to educate. We want to educate the audience. So you can, if you want to say a little bit about it.
Yeah. So Napoleon Hill was a reporter who was working for a small paper at the time, in the early 1900s, when he and a few of the other reporters on his team were actually assigned to go interview successful people to find out how they did it. He was assigned to interview Andrew Carnegie, who was the world's wealthiest person at the time, the world's first recorded billionaire. He didn't think Andrew Carnegie would accept an interview with him because he was just a small-time reporter. But to his surprise, Andrew Carnegie did. Now, Andrew Carnegie was just a child that was brought over to the U.S. as a kid at the age of 12. His family just immigrated to the U.S. from Scotland, and they were just very impoverished. So how did he go from that to becoming the world's first billionaire? And he wanted people to do what he was able to do. Mm-hmm. And so he was looking for someone to put together a recipe for anyone to create what he did. And he was looking for someone that was, to do this. And he knew it was going to take something. Mm-hmm. But when he met with Napoleon, he was really impressed with Napoleon's questions. And so he did propose the idea to him. Would you be willing to dedicate your life to interviewing the most successful people out there? He said, I'm not going to pay you to do this. Mm-hmm. I will write you letters of introduction, but I won't pay your way. Mm-hmm. And which is interesting because he was the world's wealthiest person.
Yeah.
And he was a very generous person. So it's curious, why did he do that? And I think I know why. It's not, I haven't read it, but I think I know why. It's because he really wanted Napoleon Hill to dig deep to find out how. So Think and Grow Rich, is the story of basically Napoleon's journey of interviewing 500 of the most successful people out there. He interviewed thousands of people, a lot of people who failed. But those most successful, he found there were only 13 threads that connected all of them. Mm-hmm. And in those 13 threads are common ideas that you would think wouldn't be needed if you are going to succeed in a goal, in creating a big life for yourself. Mm-hmm. Ideas like persistence, desire, the ability to make a decision, basic things that you would expect would go along with a book like this. Mm-hmm. But it was deeper threads that he found. Ideas like energy, that we are energy, vibration, and how our vibration dictates the science. There's an actual science to wealth, and that we're all molecular beings, and that we're attracting, what we're thinking, and it's our thoughts that cause the vibration of our bodies, and that attracts what comes into our life, good or bad. And so, those deeper concepts, energy, autosuggestion, the importance of feeding your mind these big ideas. And so those were the threads that he found, the ideas. And that's what really sunk deep with Bob, was actually he didn't just read the book once and put it away. He read it and he read it and he read it. And that's when he understood, why did this cleaning business work for him so well? It's because there's only two ways to go change what's going on in your mind. Now, your mind is conscious mind, subconscious mind. Our conscious mind is what we think. Our subconscious mind is how we operate. And 96 to 98% of all of our results stem from our subconscious mind. It's our behaviors, our patterns. Bob called them our paradigms. It's what we're taught. So if you can change what's going on in your subconscious mind, that's going to change your results in life. But there's only two ways to change what's going on in your subconscious mind, and that's through emotional impact and repetition. That's what he found changed his, was he kept reading these messages over and over, combined with he met with Ray on a continuous basis. He found that having that person there, that coach that was there to guide him through this, so that he wasn't alone in this. And he learned like the importance of having a mentor, the importance of having someone there encouraging you and giving you ideas, and somebody who's walked through this before to be able to hold your hand to do it and stay with you throughout the process.
Yes.
He was a very strong advocate about the importance of mentorship. So it's the repetition, the mentorship, and then his goal card that he taught, which is something you write your goal down on a flashcard. The amount of money you want to make, or the relationship you want, set a date on it, and then whip it out a few times a day, and you're just flashing this into your mind. It's like a picture. You're just creating a picture into your mind, and that's reminding yourself of what you want. So in our results are usually a reflection of what we don't want, or we're telling ourselves these negative thoughts. So we do have thousands of thoughts per day that are just running through our mind. Most of these thoughts are the same thoughts every day. Same thoughts, just a different day. And most of the thoughts that come into our mind are negative, of why we can't do something, or why they can have that and not me, or all this stuff. We tend to just beat ourselves up most of the time. And so when you can flip this and realize, just catch that thinking and start reversing that, and make it a habit of reversing those thoughts, that's when you can start changing the direction of your results. Start thinking about what you want instead of what you don't want.
Yes. Oh my God. Just, I was just thinking, and I was like, oh my, she's just saying everything that's been told over and over again, that people do the opposite. Like you said, being repetitious, rethinking your thoughts. I always tell people your words are so powerful. So anything you say, even sometime in a jokingly way, I tell people, be careful with that. Like, that was just so stupid of me. No, it wasn't so stupid of you. I have to, and people look at me like, oh, well, here she go again. Here, Barbara.
You're a coach.
I'm so used to, telling them, no, you're not. Don't say that.
That's an affirmation. All the negative words are an affirmation. When you say I am, that's just affirming that that's what you are. And that, even though you may be saying it jokingly, it's planting that seed into your subconscious mind.
Yes.
And even though you joke, well, guess what you just planted?
Yeah. And now you got to get rid of that seed. You got to say something. You got to offset that.
Reject it. Learn to reject. And that's what I tell my clients all the time. Get really good at accepting and rejecting. If it's negative, kick it out. Just have that mind block there. Every time you pay attention, catch those thoughts that say, I can't do that because why? Or that's too hard. Why? Start to just kick out those negative ideas and start accepting how you can, not why you can't.
Yes. And why can't you? I always ask people that. This is why I can't do it. I was like, well, why can't you? Well, because
there's always a solution.
There's always, And I keep grinding them down. They'll be like, here we go. And I know I'm on a journey with them when they say, here we go. But I said, here we go on a good journey. That's where here we go. See, I even flip that, because already I see their mind already thinking negative about, here's Barbara again, or here's Jennifer again. Because we know, we understand about affirmation. We understand about the mind and how it works, and how it works more on a negative aspect. Because like you just said, Jennifer, I hear all the time, like all of our thoughts throughout the day, thousands, millions of thoughts, the biggest percentage is negative. And I would say, why we need to really work on turning it around. And that's what takes the practice and the everyday cycle of that. Yes.
Yep, it is a practice, but once you get good at this, man, you can really change your results. And you just notice it's almost like magic when you see how things just play out like this.
It happened with yours too. So, with time just go by too quick. I hate this, especially when I'm talking to queens about certain things. So you, first of
I'll
all,
take that title.
yeah, I know. Yeah, you put the crowns there.
There it is.
There it is. That crown. So I always like to hear, like I said, you go with the backstory and you gave us some good suggestions of, and I want people to understand how many different nuggets you've thrown in when you were talking about the different individuals that have helped you get to where you are now. I tell people, don't discount the stories of others back in the day and in their books that they gave for you, because a lot of times you miss out on so much that can help you in your life. I hear people all the time say, well, that book's too thick and it's too many chapters. And excuses again. Here we go. Where do you want to be in your life? They took the time. I was just thinking about with Napoleon, 1900, and still to this day with the concept with him and Bob and everybody, it still works.
So yeah, it's the same information.
That's the golden nugget there too. Yes.
That's the same information you need. It hasn't changed.
See, that's the thing about it. 1900, 2026, we're still here. It's still the same concept. And thank you for showing up in what you do in your business and how you help others do that too. Now, go ahead, Jennifer. I want to.
No,
because I want to get any other gold nuggets you have. I'm pulling. I'm like,
well, okay. Bob, people would fly all over the world to see Bob, his seminars. They would pay thousands of dollars to see him because they knew by his results that he could lead them to a life of abundance.
Yes.
But he would be the first person up on that stage to say 97% of you are going to go home and do nothing with this information. And they're the ones that made the effort to get to him. He said, it's because you're going to go home and you're going to get stuck on the how. What you need to do is let go of the how and just start taking the steps to do that. But it's important to keep that energy up, the energy of that feeling of fun. If it's heavy energy, you're not going to get there. You've got to stay light. You've got to stay relaxed. You got to enjoy it. And the way to do that is your outlook on life. Have fun. You get to create this magic. It shouldn't be heavy. It should always be light. You should keep it fun. And you should have fun on this journey of life. Wow. And so, that's where it is.
Yeah. And that's something to really just, the audience watching now and me even listening to you, Jennifer, with that is such a good thing to really just take it in, because you're right. If you're not enjoying it, if it's heavy and stuff, and I always tell them that's why I know sometimes that's a trigger of mine when I know something's not right, or this is maybe something that maybe I shouldn't be doing, or should I be thinking of something else? Why is it so heavy every day? And yeah, that's what got me to the point of moving to what I do now with my business. Because I've been in insurance forever, but I switched over. People are like, Barbara, that's such a difference from media. What happened? I said, my mind told myself I need to enjoy myself to my heart. That's what happened.
And that's what you should listen to. We're on 3 levels of understanding. We have our physical bodies, our emotional minds, and then our spiritual beings.
Yes.
Our spirit is always for greater and bigger expansion, but our subconscious mind wants to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Keep us in the comfort zone. If we don't step out of that comfort zone, we'll never make it to that dream, that vision we have, and there's a reason we have that vision, and that's your spirit talking. Yes. That's why I couldn't sleep for all those years. It was my spirit saying, there's more out there. There's more out there. But it was my subconscious mind that was saying, just stay safe. There's others out there that are living worse. Just be grateful for what you have. The end. So it's when we can draw that line and say, I want to start listening to my higher self and following those threads. So good for you for making that move.
Yes. And then I was thinking, I said, shoot, not only that it feels good and lightly for me, that now the people I really want to help and really that's in my heart that I want to just help with the gift that I've received, I can do it now, and that just felt maybe more like, wow, this is what it's supposed to be. So I'm so glad, Jennifer, that you're having some better, hopefully some good night sleeps.
Yeah, I've not had a problem with sleeping ever since then. So that was exactly what I needed to do. My soul is finally rested.
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad because you have so much, I wanted you to feel light and good and you're helping others. So you needed that sleep. You
I
needed it.
know.
So Jennifer, what I want to do is I want to take myself down for a few seconds because I really want you, any lasting thoughts that you want to give to the audience. I know a lot of them that's been listening to you right now. You never know. They might have be struggling. They might be, just comprehending what they should be doing. Maybe they're not having the sleeps you didn't have and I didn't have because I. So if you can just give some just one and lasting thought, and then when we come back up, I will make sure they know how to contact you. So I'll be right back.
Great. Thank you. All right. So yes, like I was saying with Barbara, is that Bob would be the first person on his stage to walk out there and say that 97% of you are going to do nothing with this information. What you have to do is decide that you want to change the direction of your life. And once you make a committed decision and say there's no going back, that's the deciding point of you becoming, living the dream you want, designing your life, and not just floating along in life unsatisfied. It's okay to be dissatisfied in life because that is pushing you to answer the calling of you're meant for greatness. So make that decision that you want to live a higher life. If you're not getting the results you want in your business or in life, I can help you with this because I've been taught by the greatest. That's why I went back to Bob. I wanted to learn from someone who had his proven results through the success he saw in life. And that's why I went to him. I wanted to work with one of the best. And he's known throughout the industry of being one of the most well-known people in the entire world on personal development and wealth creation. So this is what I teach. Learn to bet on yourself. If you're struggling in life and you don't know why, it's because you're not listening to that inner self. So contact me, elevatedthinking.net.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And like Jennifer said, you see that how another thing with this whole interview, and first of all, Queen, thank you so much for coming on again, is that she showed you how important coaches, mentors, educators are so important in your life, where it can even change your own life completely, where you were like, oh, did I have to stay here in this particular thing? No, you don't. Jennifer proved it. I'm proving it. There's a lot of others out there prove it. So this just shows you the power of coaching and the power of mentorship. And Jennifer showed it 100% today. So thank you, Jennifer, for walking through us with that, how you got to what you do and how you help others, because it is important. Sometimes you don't have to do it alone. See, I always tell people you don't.
No, you shouldn't actually do it alone. You should always follow someone who's proven their results. Follow someone. Don't make it hard for yourself.
Yeah. And then that's time too. And guess what? That's time. And that's a big currency right now is time, because you can't get back. So yeah.
Wealthy people will always tell you time is more valuable than money. You can't get your time back. So work with someone who's proven their results. Save your time.
I'm pointing. I hope I'm pointing the right way. I'm trying to point to Queen Jennifer. So with that, wonderful Queen, thank you so much again. You are family now. You are always welcome to come back to the Coaches Lounge. We are here to support you all the way. Thank you for supporting my show today and supporting so many others as we're watching, and also making sure that we spotlight experts like Jennifer herself, where she is trying to spotlight and help others in what she does in her life. And that's what it's all about. We're all together in this. So,
thank you, Barbara.
No problem, Jennifer. And we will see you again at our next Coaches Lounge to meet another wonderful and spotlighted experts, as not only in life, but in business, and both. And always remember that no matter what, as I always say, you have that gift in you. And that gift is powerful because you're original. You're an original person. Always remember that. But also it's nice to have other people to see that. They see that light and they can help you grow in it. With that said, we'll see you next time.
Bye.